Well, I'm proud of our boys, saving a whole city from imminent destruction before said destruction got there. Between you and me, I think they're getting better at this. And that's saying something, considering the whole of our universe is based on random chance. Well, while I finish tuning up, let's end the second part of my story. At this point, it is now nighttime after your little escapades, and Ears had told you when night rolled around that you guys should go meet her at the front gate, which I assume you do.
Yeah, that is the attempt.
Unless you're gonna be like dicks and just hide somewhere and everyone find you.
I mean, Kennam's gonna try. Last I remember, he's pretty drunk, so...
Oh god, that's right. I'm pretty sure he rolled okay.
He's fine.
He's fine. So, how was the tour? Did you guys love this place? Isn't this place the coolest?
It's not bad.
I lost my deck.
Their library is, well, I don't mean to be rude, but it's a little bit lacking. Not very well organized.
Well, I mean, it's still sort of a work in progress here, but, like, the atmosphere itself, I mean, like, it's so cool! I love this place. It's kind of bumming me out a bit that we're not as enthused, but...
Kennam's gonna, like, raise the little vial he has of Mimichrome, because I don't think we ever put that back together.
We just
shout, I got a stick!
got a stick?
And with that, I'm actually gonna try and form a quarterstaff with Mimichrome.
What? Okay. Do you wait?
You're not keeping that. I hope you know.
He's gonna try it once before he gives it back.
Okay, sure. What's your? Okay, I guess roll me Constitution, but do it at a slight disadvantage because you reminded me you're drunk.
Alright.
I also think it'd be really funny if Kennam can't remember what a stick looks like.
So 7 and 18, so 7. Oh, no, 8. I forgot I had a +1 in Constitution.
Oh,
it's an 8.
+1.
Woohoo.
Okay, so you make this announcement to everybody. You hold up your tiny vial of Mimichrome, and do you have something for the Mimichrome to grab onto? Or are you just, like, expecting it to make...
he's kind of forgotten how it works, so he thinks it'll just wrap around the vial.
Okay,
yeah, no,
well...
that's not how that works.
It like comes out briefly, and it looks around kind of confused, and then it pops back in the vial, and Ears looks at you, and she's like, okay,
Lannon just laughs.
Yeah, I may be regretting that earlier statement of wishing for enthusiasm. You guys should probably put that back together, by the way. Probably not a good idea for all three of you to have crazy magical horse stuff.
Yeah, Kennam, I don't think you're using that right.
Lannon just extends his hand to Kennam and is just like, yeah, can I have that back, by the way? It's kind of the only weapon I have.
And Svein is about to give his share of the Mimichrome to Kennam.
No.
Kennam.
Wait, why is he giving it to Kennam?
Yep. Because he sees that Kennam already has some, and he's like, oh yeah, that's right here. I'll just give it to him. Even though he's demonstrated that he's not very good with it.
Alright, I guess Kennam will take them both and give them to Lannon, whispering, why do you hate me?
Oh my god, what is the matter with you?
I may have tried some grass...
What?
Alcohol?
Grass-alcohol?
Alcohol from grass.
I don't think I've heard of that before, and that's probably because it's not a very good thing to try.
Yeah, no, you see Ears face palming, she's like, oh jeez. How much of that did you have?
And do you have any more?
I mean, look, just to put it in comparison, like, this concoction that the city has made is like vodka on crack. So how much did you have?
He like motions to like a regular sized glass.
Oh my god. Okay, cool. So I guess I'll tell you guys how the meeting with the chieftain went in a second. Let's go find Kennam a bucket or something.
Roll for alcohol poisoning.
Maybe we could make a bucket out of mimicry. No.
That's not how that works.
Not again. Okay. I know we're all very excited about this, but look, I'm just gonna check on the cart, see how that's going. If you guys want to grab Winslow and find somewhere to sleep tonight, because I'm pretty sure you don't want to sleep in Florence while they're fixing Florence.
No.
Sounds like
I mean-
a lot of power tools that would be used.
Yeah. I mean, feel free to come with and like check on the status too, but eventually we're gonna have to find a place to crash.
Let's find the nearest inn.
Let's
Alright.
do it.
Alright. Wait here a hot second. I'm gonna go grab Winslow, and I guess I'll see you guys in a bit again. And you watch as Ears sort of ducks out of the gate, and you hear somebody very loudly and angrily shouting on the other side of this gate, sounding suspiciously a lot like Winslow. And after a few minutes, you see him sort of get pushed into the city, like pushed through the gates and the door slammed shut. And he spins around his heel and he's like, "Ears, you completely and utterly suck!" And then he turns back to you guys and he says, "Well, I hope you guys had a better time than I did."
I met some short people.
I got a new shield.
I got to go to a library with no organization system.
He's really hung up on that.
Fingers into a finger guns.
Wait, what does Kennam do?
Just gonna snap his fingers into the finger guns and just go, eh.
Yeah. Winslow says, "Yeah, nope, that definitely sounds way more exciting than getting put in timeout and forced to watch people building a cart back up." That's
Oh.
There's a timeout room?
apparently specially designated for Winslow.
That's too bad.
Sounds about
So,
right.
did they fix Florence then?
Well, they are fixing, though I was under the distinct impression that was my job. But lo and behold, when everyone leaves, magically a group of fixing people come in and start working on the cart. To which I ask, "Oh, do I need to be here?" And they respond, "Yes."
What?
And I did it. Exactly. I think she set me up.
That's kind of weird.
It's kind of rude.
Well, this is Ears we're talking about.
You make a good point.
Ugh.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm sure it's all better now.
Ugh. Still. Feel like I'm back locked up in the stupid broom closet. You think after like a week she'd get over it, but I guess not.
Well, just give it some time.
Ugh. Okay, well, she said something about having to find an inn or something. Said not to wait up for her.
Alright.
Well, okay then. Let's see what this town has to offer.
Okay, so with Winslow in tow, you all set off into excuse me, the city
Oh, no.
again. What do you mean you don't know, you silly boy?
I said,
You're
oh
off-
no. As in
Oh, oh, no.
hiccups. Oh no.
Oh my god, that'd be the worst. I'd have to have a character who speaks clearly or solely in
Yeah.
hiccups. So do you guys know a particular inn you want to go to, or are you literally just like wandering around until you find a place?
I went to a tavern.
Swain's
right,
going- Swain's gonna just walk up to a random person on the street who
Okay.
maybe looks like they know. He's gonna say,
To these people?
Yeah.
Nope, not really.
Nope.
Oh, okay. All right. Swain's
Lobe?
gonna go up to a person on the street and
Okay.
just try and do like charades, like sleepy
Oh.
time.
Sleepy time charades.
Mhm.
Performance check.
Okay. While you're doing that, Lobe, did you say you wanted to do something?
Was the place that I was drinking at, was that a tavern or was that an inn?
That's a good question. You could go back and check it out.
Okay. I will. I'll go see if the last place I was at has rooms.
As Svein does fucking sleepy time charades, Lobe just like it takes off down the center of the city.
Lannon's gonna look around for a bucket for Kennam.
Yeah, how's little Kennam doing?
That's a good question.
That is a solid question.
I feel like he's at the point where he's just staring off into space.
14 for that bucket check.
I mean, yeah, this is typically the roadway for carts, sort of they're coming and going, and you see a slower moving cart does have quite a collection of buckets. Perhaps they are a bucket salesman of sorts.
They have masterwork buckets.
It's the bucket
mean,
man.
Yeah, I was to say, he is the bucket man, so it's very likely he has masterwork buckets.
All we need is a rock and some rope, and then we've rounded this entire adventure out.
What?
No elevators. Elevators do not exist in this world.
It's too late. They already do.
Guys, that wasn't an elevator. That was a pulley system. There's a difference.
Oh my god.
It was an elevator. He selected which floor he wanted to go to, and then he went to that floor.
Whatever. As these shenanigans are happening, Lobe, you make your way back to that inn with the picture of the zebra on it. And it does appear that there are a couple of rooms in the back. You actually see a few people gathered around the inn's fireplace. They've sort of got mats and blankets set up. So, safe assumption that, yes, this is a place where you guys could bunker down and sleep.
All right, excellent. I go back to grab the rest of them.
And Svein's performance check was 8, so he's not doing a very good job.
Okay, so Lobe, you come back to Svein, like jumping up and down on one foot, and his hands are flailing off in every direction in front of this Goliath couple who look a little bemused, like they think he's some sort of street performer. They actually give you a silver piece.
Hey!
This is profitable.
You also see Lannon talking with a halfling whose cart is literally nothing but buckets. And next to him is Kennam, who's just sort of staring off glassy-eyed in the distance.
We need art of this.
Because Lobe can't leave for 5 seconds without you guys doing something here.
That's right.
Well, this is quite a sight. I found an inn. If you guys want to come with me.
Oh, well, that's great, because these fine people, they just offered to help pay for some of the room.
Yes, that's what they did.
Alright. Lannon's just like, cool. Grabs Kennam and we're off.
And as you head off to that zebra-signed inn,
Barcode
the poor
horse.
bucket... Yeah, whatever. The bucket master sheds one solitary tear, as you were the first person who was actually legitimately gonna buy a bucket from him. Godspeed, bucket halfling. One day you will find your art of trade.
Plot twist, we needed one of his buckets to save the world.
Yeah.
One of the buckets has a seed in it. So you all arrive at the inn with the zebra painted on the sign. And you head inside, and Lobe, the bartender, actually recognizes you. It's another Goliath, a little on the short side, which is, I guess, in your case, is normal height. And she kind of waves you over, Lobe, and as you approach, she says, "Oh, you back for another round then, stranger?"
No, not this time. But maybe later. Can we get some of your rooms?
Sure. How many are you looking for?
1, 2, all of them. Lennon doesn't actually say that, just so we're clear.
No one wants to share.
Oh no, he
with
definitely
Kennam.
does.
He 100% does. Everything is canonical, to which the bartender responds, "You want all 18 rooms?"
I'm just kidding.
Oh. Well, listen, I get a lot of folk passing through here. It's just safer to take everybody seriously.
Understandable.
So let's see. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. Looks like there's 5 of you. If that half-looking thing in the corner is with you. listen, and she kind of leans in a bit. She's looking at you, Lannon. She says, I don't mean to be rude. I've never seen something like you guys before. Is there something I can refer to you as, or like?
Do we have a team name? Wait, no. Is she just
No,
talking about
she's
my
specifically
race?
talking to you, yeah, because she's
Oh.
like blown away by whatever the hell you are, strange antler man.
Cool. I'm exotic. Just call me a
God.
half elf.
Oh, that's what your buddy in the corner is too. And she points to Winslow, who's currently sitting at a table, doing the Winslow thing, which is sulking like a little sad mopey lion.
Yeah.
No, he's not a half elf. He's depressed.
Oh, I mean, I'd be glad to give you guys rooms. But do you need anything else? Is it just the rooms? Like, you guys got carts you need to park, or I mean, if you want dinner, my husband in the back caught a boar as of late, one of those savannah boar. Cooking that up, that should be some tasty shit.
Ooh, yes, we would like dinner.
That sounds excellent.
As long as it's not cooked by me.
That is, I'd like to point out, that is literally what got you all in this situation in the first place.
And Svein will not help get the water.
I'm pretty sure they have that covered.
Yeah.
Okay, so you guys get situated at a table then? Do you go to the same table as Winslow? You're just gonna avoid that like the plague. I'm pretty sure depression is
Contagious?
catchable. Yeah.
I'll sit with Winslow.
No, yeah, Svein will go sit with Winslow.
Okay.
Lannon's
Kennam's
reluctant,
kind of-
but he'll sit with him.
Okay.
Kennam's kind of flopped on the table, but you know he's there.
Why don't I just
How
imagine
drunk
he's-
is he?
Apparently he's super drunk. This is apparently like a very low acting alcohol. Because I don't remember him being this drunk in the interlude.
It
as
hit
an
him.
act- Yeah,
I
it
guess
hit him hard.
It hits hard because
I guess.
I want to say he rolled like a 4. I want to say he rolled really low, and it really didn't help.
Well, I mean, and on that note too, like as you guys all sit down, the bartender comes over and she actually has mugs for you all, and she says, "On the house, you guys. If you need any refills, just let me know." And as she sets it down, you see it's this green frothing liquid, which looks very familiar to Lobe and to Kennam.
Oh, why thank you.
Most excellent.
I'm not even sure Kennam notices this.
Kennam, is this perchance what you drank earlier?
Eh.
He says at the he just got up and started walking away.
All right.
Oh God. Okay, so you all have this possibly super alcoholic drink. served.
Lannon takes a swig.
Oh,
Yep.
God. Okay, I need constitution
Bottoms
rolls
up.
I need constitution rolls from everybody.
All right. Yep. Svein's gonna take a swig too.
Oh, thank God, I'm not getting the same treatment as Kennam. I rolled
I
a
guess-
19.
Ooh, I got a 15.
What a
Oh.
coincidence, Lannon, because I guess Kennam sobered up quick, because he rolled a 19 and he has a bonus of +1, so...
What the hell?
Wow.
Okay,
The more you drink, the more sober you get.
I guess.
Lannon's a partier. Are you kidding me?
I got 17.
You got 17 too. Okay, so you all actually wait, I wanna low. So you all take a swig and it's got a very earthy taste. Again, like Kennam said, it sort of tastes like grass. And you
Graskahol.
Graskahol. And you feel a little buzzy, but nothing to the extent of Kennam. And weirdly enough, as you look at Kennam, you see he's slowly getting more and more sober with each drink he has. Like some weird backwards effect. And let's see. Okay. Meanwhile, Winslow takes. You already fucking know? Winslow takes like the babiest of sips, and you see like his entire like you see his eyes just completely glaze over and he's out.
Winslow, I think you've had enough. Oh,
Didn't he
too
own
late.
a tavern?
Yeah, like he pushes it away and he's like, holy shit. And you see him like grab his head with his hand and he's like, in all of my years of making alcohol, I have never. What is this made of? And he like picks up the cup and he starts looking into the mixer like he could discern what the ingredients are just by looking at them.
Well, if you don't want yours.
He pushes it to you, Lobe. He's not having this.
Remember, drink responsibly.
Yeah, no, that's impossible with Graskell. So this night from God damn it. Nick, make this.
New from the makers of Red Wine Night, Graskell.
Okay, that's silly. So the night continues. You guys eventually get your dinner of delicious Savannah boar and root vegetables and whatnot. Like you guys are eating, everything is great. You don't see Ears at all, though. Like a couple hours are passing and she's still not back. And at this point, you guys have the option of like doing something real quick, or you could just go straight to bed and continue with this adventure.
We should probably try to find Ears. I don't know if she knows that we're here.
This is true.
This could have been a good thing to do earlier, but you know, it's whatever.
Yeah, I'll join. I am bringing a mug of Graskell with me, though.
Oh no.
Is that legal? Can you walk with alcohol in the streets like that?
I don't know. You're
Depends
you're
on the
God.
place, yeah.
Tell us.
Svein can he'll do a knowledge.
Guess we'll find out soon enough.
What would that be? Knowledge history?
I guess, but like as you do this, Kennam just holds up his hand. He's like, nah. It's cool. We'll
We're
just find out through
fine.
trial and error.
That's how Lannon's lived his life.
Oh! Svein got 26 on his knowledge history. He's
Oh
reading
my
up in that library.
God, just for an alcohol check?
Just to see if it's okay to be walking around like that.
Okay, well,
Just checking the bylaws.
Yes.
Fucking bottom bylaw.
I like to pay attention to those kinds of things.
No, but you pull out a sprig of knowledge from the back of your brain. I don't know where you read this in your library, but you for some reason
Well,
had bylaws.
remember when Spain went to the little. Although I don't know if he really read anything there
That's true.
when he went to the little library, but
He
Go
was-
to
he
off
was there
camera.
He was there for a bit.
Yeah.
So I guess while you were there, you picked up on some bylaws. It turns out that the invention of this Graskell, if you guys have been calling it, led to some fun interactions on the street. Lot of blood spilled that day. So by law, it is now required that you drink not only inside but with supervision. Like you cannot drink this alone without somebody else.
Kennam, you might want to keep that. Just keep it to yourself for now.
All right.
It's like,
Don't walk around with it out in the open. You'll get in trouble.
fucking police will bust you.
Then he's like, all right. He jumps out his water skin, fills it with that, and goes,
Oh my
"God."
Good thinking, Kennam.
Oh my god. We're gonna get in so much trouble.
Okay, well now I need you to note that in because this could actually be used as a weapon and or knowing you guys.
Come across some guy in the desert who's really thirsty, like, here, have some water.
And then you kill
Boom.
him. Okay, so are you all gonna go check on Ears to see what she's doing still?
Yep.
Still keeping
Indeed.
a firm eye on freaking Winslow.
Yeah, who at this point I want to add is still super tipsy. Turns out he's also like a super angry drunk. So as you mentioned that you should go get Ears, he like slams his hand on the table and he's like, you know, I got some words I want to talk to her about too. Nobody in the corner. and he kind of gets up off his chair, but his stool sort of wobbles a bit, and he goes to catch it.
I'll
it
go to
falls
catch
anyway?
him.
Yeah, because then he goes down. So now, Lobe, you are kind of holding a partially conscious. Oh.
You know what? How about we bring her to you?
Just put him in one of the rooms.
Upstairs?
That was my plan. Lock him up in one of the rooms for the night.
Put him in timeout again.
Yeah, he's like, you can't trick me. You can't put me in the corner again. I know I'm a bad person, but I don't deserve this.
No, but you deserve a lie down.
Ken's gonna cast Prestidigitation on like a little coin,
Yeah.
and just try and like distract him, bring him up to the room.
Oh my god.
And everybody else just pretend not to see that.
Okay. So I guess
Little
as
coin
you,
shooting sparks.
yeah.
With the face on it.
Okay. With the face talking like, Winslow, you want to go take a nap, Winslow?
No, that's just Kennam saying it behind the coin.
Okay, fair enough. So you, Lobe, and you kind of start taking Winslow upstairs. The bartender waves to you, and she's like, "Yeah, no, don't worry about it. It's all paid, ready to go."
Sweet.
And
Wait, who
As-
paid for it?
that's a good question. You could ask.
Excuse me, who did pay for the drinks?
Oh, well, note says the chieftain took care of everything. So lucky you guys.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
You really
What
must have
did
done something to
she
impress her.
do?
Well, I mean, I did reach the stratosphere, so.
I don't know if the chieftain was specifically privy to that situation, so
Kennam don't know that.
you know what? That's a fair point. But anyway,
World's first astronaut.
so you take Winslow upstairs, Kennam and Lobe. The rooms are fairly nice. You got like a bed, you got a little vanity, you've got a
TV.
got a fun little TV, but like TV in this world is like a puppet show. So it's like one of those little stands with like little grass woven puppets. The assumption is you hire somebody or something. Who knows?
Something like that.
Yeah. And yeah, that's the room you headed to. Winslow is still sort of like dipping in and out of consciousness. In your arms, Lobe. He's actually like slowly caressing your arms, like kind of mumbling under his breath.
No, Lobe.
There, little man.
My assumption is you just kind of put.
Yes.
Okay. So you kind of just very gently, I assume, kind of put him down on the cot.
Mhm.
And yeah, as you turn to leave, he's still mumbling under his breath. If you want to like catch snippets, you can. And if you're just like, random drunk drumbling, you can just keep walking.
Yeah,
Catch
probably
the
just keep walking.
snippets.
Lobe knows what's up.
He's been down that road.
Kennam's curious.
Okay. Kennam, you lead in, and you pick up on drunk snippets, and he's like rambling something about the future, something about his brother Hubert, something about being lost in an endless ocean with no paddle.
The fuck?
It sounds like a bunch of weird philosophical / drunk things. But before you turn away to go, he actually grabs you by the hand. He says, Kennam.
Yes.
Kennam. he gestures for you to come in closer.
Hesitantly, Kennam's coming in closer.
And Winslow says, Can I have the stone?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
It talks, you know?
Oh, it's stone of fast speech.
I have plenty of things that talk. We're kind of gonna be specific.
No, it's the. It's like you hold it up to your mouth and you say things to people and they say things back. I need it. I need it, Kennam.
Eat it.
That said, do I still have that on me? Like, did
Stone
somebody
of far
take
speech?
Just give him a rock. Just like pick a rock up off the ground.
Hell, considering he's drunk, he'll probably imagine the voices.
You know what? Yeah, I'm gonna like pick up one of the nearest rocks and cast like a prestidigitation on it to make it look like the stone of far speech.
Why do you all assume there's rocks in this inn tavern?
Well, then I can make so prestidigitation
Because it's in rocks.
Can make a small object appear in like I can make a small object appear.
Okay.
So I'm gonna make non-working stone of far speech.
Okay. So you're gonna give this fake stone of far speech Winslow, and he like immediately sits up, and he's just staring at it, just in complete silence. Like his eyes suddenly go focused, and he's just staring at this thing, this fake thing in his hands that he's pretty sure is real, and he's not like he doesn't even register you're there anymore. He's not. He's gone.
Okay.
Oh my god. Okay, so after those fun shenanigans, you go back outside, you head back to the gate, where you do still hear the sound of fixin'-ups happening. And as you open the gate to sort of head back outside, where you left Florence, you see that Florence is actually still in the monster state. It's not sitting, it's like lying down, but sort of sprawled out so people can reach its arms and legs. And you see a couple of Orcs and Goliath all dressed in these uniformed aprons, and they have these welding goggles on, and they're monkeying around this giant structure. A couple of them have like ropes tied to their waists, and they're sort of rappelling down the side to fix, to like patch up holes that were chewed off by the great ooze. And you see Ears below, and she's sort of directing people and just offering general assistance.
I wasn't aware they could use welders. This does not seem like a glass savannah kind of thing.
Well, it's the welder goggles. You gotta have some goggles.
Yeah.
You do
That's
see,
right. And then, hey, they were using, some like spark magic when they were working with the glass.
Yeah,
It's the same thing.
it definitely is like sort of this mixture of their own ingenuity with this sort of steampunk-esque theme that you've seen all throughout.
Alright.
And yeah, so that's the scene you guys head into. What do you want to do?
So we see Ears.
Yeah, she's on the ground. She's sort of the director.
Okay. Ears!
Oh.
Ears turns around and she sees you guys. She's like, "Ow, hi. I thought I told you to go find it in."
We did.
But we wanted to let you know where it is. We don't want you to go to the wrong one.
Oh.
A funny
If there is more than one.
No, I guess that's true. And she actually looks up at the sky and she slaps her head and she's like, "Holy shit, has that much time passed? Wow. Sorry, I got totally lost in the craft here." And she talks to one of the orcs and she sort of shoos them off. She heads over to you guys and she says, "Well, it kind of sounds like they'll be done sometime tomorrow, so at least we'll be able to leave early."
Hooray!
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, you guys really picking up on gnome techniques. I'm little relieved. And she looks over you guys, like she looks over the group, and her face goes slightly sour, and she says, "Where the hell is Winslow?"
Oh,
being
funny drunk.
What?
But he's in his room. It's okay.
Is there the room locked or something? Like, are there windows? Like, guys, he could get out and escape. Like, we don't want that happening.
He's drunk. Don't worry, he's not going anywhere.
Okay.
It'll all be okay.
Yeah, well, for your sake, I hope that's the case.
Last I saw you was just kind of staring at a stone of far speech, so...
In
Where did he get a
quotation
stone of
marks,
far-
stone of far speech.
Yeah.
She actually asked, like, where did he get a stone of far speech? I didn't give him one. Or the one I did give him, I took back.
He does air quotes. I gave him one.
And, so she kind of, like, brushes her hands off. There's a bit of oil streaks that's covering her clothes. Like, she looks super dirty. Like, she was also trying to fix, not Winslow. Fixing Florence.
No one can fix Winslow.
I don't know.
Well, seems to be doing the job.
And she
Alright,
says,
Tom,
well,
I'm gonna need you to get closer to your mic.
yeah, Tom, what the heck's wrong with you?
How about this?
God!
Jesus. Okay. So she kind of cleans herself off and she says, "Oh God, I'm gonna need a shower or something." Well, okay. You guys got this. And you see all of the orcs and the Goliaths stop welding and wrapping stuff up, and they all flash her thumbs up. And she's like, "All right, cool. I'm gonna go then." And she looks at you guys. She's like, "All right, lead the way, I guess."
Okay, let's go.
Okay.
I assume we just skip the whole walk back.
Yeah, no, you guys
Okay.
head back. You get all ready for Betty Bye and shit. And unless there's something you desperately need to do, I will take it from there.
Go for it.
Go for it.
All right, you were all locking in your answers of going for it, so we're going for it. So, next morning comes. You all wake up. You eat some more free food, courtesy of the
Best
chieftain.
kind.
The best kind of food. I mean, it's not that impressive. It's like leftovers from last night, so
But we didn't have to pay for it.
you still didn't have to pay for it, so it's still good. And Ears is usually an early riser, and it's not unexpected, like uncharacteristic of her to kind of try and get you guys moving, like get ready to go to the next destination. But especially this morning, she seems very eager to get out. Like, she completely just inhales her food, and she is already dressed and ready to go. She's like, "Okay, guys, come on, we gotta go, seriously. Freaking seasoned saplings ain't waiting for nobody. Let's go, let's go."
Did you tell the chieftain something? Because we just got free food and a group of people to work on our stuff for free.
What? Yeah, I already told you I took care of it, so come on, let's go.
Yeah, but what did you tell him exactly? Because I'm going to have to remember that.
What? Don't worry
Worked
about
very
it.
nicely.
Whatever badge you flashed, I want one.
I don't, it's not a... You see her, like, pitching the bridge of her nose. She's like, "Guys, no, seriously, it's fine. Don't worry about it. We just gotta go. We gotta get going. Let's go."
Fine, but you're getting me a badge later.
I don't have a badge. No badge.
You've got a bag. Your bag makes all kinds of things.
Lannon's just like, okay, whatever, let's go. And he carries Kennam onto the cart.
Oh, yes. Let's go. Oh, wait a minute. Wait, we can't go yet. I just remembered I have to go to the blacksmith.
Oh,
God.
I actually got to ride and buy, what was the name? Shale? Was his name Shale? I think his name was Shale.
His name was
I don't know. I was kind of drunk.
What are you guys talking about?
It's okay. I just need to get a couple more daggers, and then we can take off.
Lennon face palms.
Okay, fine. You guys go
Was-
take care of that, and then she does, like, kind of another head count with her eyes. She's like, "Oh my God, where is Winslow?"
Maybe
you leave
he's
him in the room?
I think we locked the room, so yeah, he wouldn't be able to get out.
Well, we hope he didn't get out.
Okay.
Oh,
Who wants to go check?
Lannon's the fastest, so Lannon's heading out.
Get your chase
Heading
music
up
ready.
or heading out?
Heading out to go get Winslow.
So heading
Oh,
up
we're heading
to go
up.
get Winslow. Because heading out sounds like you're just heading outside, throwing your hands up, saying, "Fuck it, I don't care."
I don't. Lannon doesn't care. Everyone else
That's-
cares, so Lannon will go along with it.
Okay, so Lannon's gonna go upstairs and grab Winslow.
Yep.
Ears looks to you, Svein, and Kennam. She's like, okay, fine. Just hurry up. Go get your stuff. I'm gonna go get the cart. Make sure it's all ready. Lobe, you got any side things you gotta take care of?
He pats down. Nope, don't think so.
Okay, cool. You're with me. Let's go. So I guess everybody like ratatouille's the way out of.
That's right.
And just like go in all directions.
Someone throws a ball of Graskahol down and says, "Scatter!"
Yeah, sure, we'll go with that. So you, Kennam and Svein, I assume you guys will not have a problem getting what you need to get. Kennam, you're just getting these.
No.
Okay, you're just getting your something.
My cane.
Yeah,
My
you're
glass.
getting your cane. You can tell us what that looks like when you come back. Svein, you're just getting daggers, so you can just subtract how much money daggers are.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. Lobe, you're going with ears.
Yep.
Who is walking very fast for having tiny legs. Like
She's so quick.
yeah, she's like straight up booking it, trying to get to the cart super fast. Which at this point is fixed. And she's like, okay, good. Oh my god, and her whole face like drops. She's like, oh my god, where the hell is Kevin?
Oh no!
Oh.
Lobe shrugs.
Probably having a fitful night inside of Florence.
Oh Jesus, did we leave the goat inside of the cart?
He rolled out a window.
How did we do that? Shit.
I'm really alright. Lannon's really hoping she did not get into the Shiva fire.
So she runs in Florence. And immediately, like 3 seconds later, you hear her go, "Oh God, no!"
Did she get into the fire?
I don't know. Lobe's still outside.
Did you want me to come in?
Yes.
Okay.
And Lobe, you walk in, and everything seems pretty normal. Like the living quarters are fine, the kitchen is fine. You don't see anything down the hallways. But then
Kevin
you
ate all
hear-
the cookies.
Kevin.
How dare you? No, everything is fine downstairs. You just hear another scream upstairs from Ears, and then a very angry, slightly demonic sounding meh.
Oh no.
Guess make my way upstairs.
So you head upstairs. You head up the snarling staircase, and the higher you get up, the more you notice how hot the railing is.
Oh.
Until it comes
Toasty.
until it comes to the point where you can no longer actually use the railing. And as you hit the top stair, you see Ears. Somehow she scrambled on top of one of the bookshelves. She has the grand map tucked underneath her arm, and you see Kevin, and she is throwing like the worst temper tantrum you've ever seen. Like bits and pieces of the main control panel are just completely smashed. There are a lot of dents in the walls, and the glass even looks somewhat cracked. And at this point, Kevin somehow got to her medium stage. She is running around. She's like fire. A couple of like items in the room are also on fire. And Ears looks over at you and she says, "See, now this is why I said we probably shouldn't have pets, because you guys can't even take care of yourselves."
No, Ears. That's a Kevin. I don't know what you painted. But Kevin, what are you doing?
And
Just scolding it like a child.
Kevin turns to you, Lobe, and she snorts and she starts pawing the ground like she's about to ram you.
Kevin, you've been a naughty, naughty Kevin.
I'm gonna need you to hold on a second. Okay, I need you to roll guess intimidation, but roll me with advantage because Kevin knows who you are and knows your business.
Okay.
Also, let's face it, at this point, you are Kevin's daddy. And if
Yeah.
Kevin doesn't listen to Dad, Kevin listens to nobody. God.
12.
12. Okay. She backs down a little bit, but she still lets out an angry.
Oh wait, you said
bleat.
with advantage?
Yeah, with advantage.
Oh, my bad. Make that 14.
Okay. She backs down a bit, and she sort of gives like a half pitiful, still sort of half angry bleat, and you see the fire around you start to calm down a bit, and she's still kind of like pawing at the ground, but it's less I'm gonna now ram you with my giant curling horns and more I'm sorry.
Aww,
Oh.
that's adorable.
Say sorry.
Well, the goat can't talk. She's not gonna say sorry.
Well, she should at least try.
Lobe, that is like by far, like we have seen some crazy shit. That is by far the craziest. And just as she's going to finish that sentence, Kevin actually looks up at her and she goes, meh, meh.
All right, now off with you, little scamp.
Medium-sized Kevin starts sort of awkwardly clunking down the stairs, and Iris watches this, and she looks at you, Lobe, and she's like, Lobe, I'm not entirely convinced you're human. And I mean that in the nicest way possible.
Well, thank you. I think you're not entirely human either.
Alright, can you... I'm gonna be honest, I don't know how I got up here. Can you please help me down?
Sure.
Lobe is just blissfully stupid, and I love it.
As this is all going down, Lobe, you... not Lobe. Lannon, you are making your way upstairs to take care of Winslow. And you go to open the door, and yeah, lo and behold, you did lock him in his room. Have not unlocked it since. So do that with what you will.
Unlocking the door?
Yeah. I mean, you could just turn around and be like, he's not there, let's go.
Yeah, but then Iris would get mad at me, and that's a whole ordeal, and ugh.
And then Winslow could come back like weeks later and get his revenge on you.
Surprise.
You don't want that.
Main villain.
He grows
Yep.
an evil goatee.
Yeah,
Regardless,
And
Len is just
and we don't
unlocking the
need
door.
that.
Yeah. Okay, so Lannon's unlocking the door. You open the door, and surprisingly enough, the room is still in one piece.
The fuck?
It looks fairly nice.
So it's okay to leave a Winslow alone. Just don't leave a Kevin alone.
Yeah.
It's fine. Oh, Kevin. Okay.
Yeah.
Kevin, yeah.
What'd you think we said?
You
Kevin?
Kennam?
I heard Kennam.
Should we leave you alone?
No!
You've seen the interludes, but we really do need to think about the next names we do because they cannot start with K or L.
No. I'm gonna... I'll try and avoid that. Anyway, so Lannon, you walk into this room, still amazingly in pristine condition, and that is because Winslow is still in bed, but he's sitting up, cross-legged, and he has... Actually, wait. Kennam, how long
It
does
only
President...
lasts an hour.
Yeah, okay.
It moved away long ago.
Well, regardless of the fact you actually see Winslow still sitting up in bed, cross-legged. His hands are folded together like something was in his hands at some point and now isn't. And he doesn't seem to notice you coming in.
I'm walking up to him, snapping in his face, and it's like, let's go.
Okay. He sort of shakes back to consciousness and he looks up and he's like, what? What'd you say?
We're leaving. Let's go.
Oh. Okay. And he starts to get up and he says, what? Was I...
Drunk?
Holding-
Yes.
No. I mean, I could guess that. I thought Kevin gave me something, and I don't know where it went. So I don't know if you can help me look for it real quick.
I have no idea what you're talking about, but Eos is mad and we gotta go.
Well, I think she's gonna get more mad if I use the sword of Martha.
Alright, then Lannon's just gonna do a quick perception around the room.
Okay.
Just to humor him. That's a natural 19 plus 4, 23.
Wow. Yeah, no, there's no stone of far speech here. In fact, you're pretty damn sure when Kennam came back downstairs, he told you guys how he cleverly made an illusion for Winslow, and he thought it was super funny.
Nada, nothing. Come on.
Alright, fine. We'll just chalk it up to alcohol. It's whatever, fine. And he,
It's one more for alcohol.
one more for alcohol! And he starts, well, I guess you would be starting out of the room first, and he'll follow behind you.
Mm-hmm.
And, as you open the door to leave, he says, Lannon, I don't know if you, because I'm pretty sure you still hate me a lot, right?
Just a tad.
Safe bet. Have you gotten in contact with anybody back at Smolderven?
Yeah, my mom. Why?
And, I was just wondering. I just wanted to know how things going. How that whole situation panned out.
They're still making repairs as far as I know.
Right.
Now, come on. And Lannon just goes off.
Okay. So you guys head downstairs. At this point, Kennam and Svein are back. And you all reconvene, and you, I assume, head off to meet everyone at Florence to head off. Head off.
Fly directly to the forehead.
Yeah. So you guys are making your way down the center of Azu Andeel.
Oh, I want to make. We do know where we're going, right?
Yeah, you know where you're going at this point.
I hope.
Where are we going at this point?
At this point, you guys are making your way to the
Bathroom.
the entrance. No, not the bathroom.
I was meaning like, are we going to a city? Like where we're our next destination?
Oh, your next No, there has been no discussion of that.
Okay, well, I don't want to forget. So as soon as we figure that out during the trip,
During the car ride.
during the trip, Kennam is going to be writing a letter back home to the orphan. I want to make that known because I keep almost forgetting.
Okay,
Yeah,
I'll help you remember.
orphans.
Dear orphans, how's it going? Life good?
Getting any parents yet?
So bad. Real quick though, as you guys are walking through the city, Kennam, you got a spiffy new toy.
Yes.
You want to tell us what that looks like? What is it? What'd you do?
It's going to be this it's this glass cane with this. He's always had this little crystalline flower with him. I think I made that mentioned. I mentioned that a few times.
Well, if you didn't, you did now.
He's had this
Sure.
little flower brooch, and he's recently incorporated that into a cane, making that the little ornament on the top of the cane. And it's this glass cane that spirals down. It's whatever the soul glass. What soul glass color is it, by the way? What's the thing? Soul glass dealio.
From my recollection, you burnt the shit out of the soul glass. Probably
I'm
somewhere
gonna have-
between.
Oh yeah, it was pretty burnt up.
I'm gonna have that fragment act as like the centerpiece of it, like the
Okay.
middle, the core.
So just this
With
burnt
like the
ass
soul,
fragment.
yeah, with like the soul glass bits spiraling around it.
Okay, so kind of like this cool mosaic-esque cane thing.
Yeah.
Svein, I'd ask what your daggers look like, but I'm pretty sure they're just daggers.
They probably have, I don't know, They probably have something engraved on them, like
Oh yeah.
the Dewey Decimal System, or
Their names are Dewey and Destiny.
yes. I'm gonna
I
have
thought
to
we were gonna
think
go with
about
the
it.
Dewey or die.
Yes.
Oh god. It should be noted too that similar to Lannon shield and Kennam's cane, the actual dagger part of these daggers are made of glass, but the craftsman reassured you that they're not just gonna like shatter after one.
And they probably won't dissolve if we get sucked up into a great ooze again.
Yeah, hopefully.
Hopefully.
I mean, those days are hopefully also behind you. But as you sort of are exchanging stories and like you guys are marveling over each other's weapons, you notice that there's actually sort of a crowd gathered around the front entrance.
What?
Quite a few orcs and Goliaths are making their way outside of the city. You got some of them who are really big and brutish, and they're lugging these wheelbarrows that could quite easily carry 5 or 6 of their people. You've got a couple of them who are dressed in these colorful garments, which are eerily similar to the kind you saw awkwardly worn by your goo buddy chieftain, and I guess by proxy, what Vin's spirit was wearing. And they're all carrying these like staves and talismans and other doodads. And yeah, they're all making their way outside of the city, sort of going in the direction where you guys are headed.
Ooh.
Ooh. Maybe there's a concert over there.
Fuck's a concert.
Okay. As you kind of pull closer to the gate, you see Ears, and you see your buddy Lobe, and you see teeny weeny teacup Kevin, who you all realize you totally forgot about, and is glad is okay. Oh, you guys are terrible.
Oh, hey there, Kevin.
Meh. And as you get close, Ears is like, okay, well, we may have run into a slight situation with actually getting out in a time.
I guess there's a lot of traffic today.
Yeah. You guys probably want to see this. And she kind of gestured you to follow after her, sort of into the crowd as well.
I swear if there's more ooze.
Well,
It's reconstituting
Yeah.
itself. Roll condition.
Jesus
Yes,
No,
you know how to deal with it now.
fuck.
pretty handily actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so you all gotta follow Ears.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So as you make your way outside of the city doors, the full scale of the Grey Ooze kind of finally comes to terms. Like when it first collapsed the day before, in a very awesome display of teamwork and camaraderie.
Yeah.
Yay!
But your focus was sort of on the tsunami wave of goop that threatened to wash over Azu Andeel's doorstep. It was on Vin's spirit and getting the green sapling back and making sure sort of that bomb got diffused. But
Trying to be alive.
yeah, just making sure the situation resolved itself handily. But now that that's all said and done, it's really hard to ignore everything that was inside the monster.
Oh no.
You guys are standing in this 1 to 2 inch pool of stagnant slime while this monstrous skeletal frame that gave the Grey Ooze its shape in the first place looms in the sky like this sort of forgotten necropolis of sorts. And even now, the massive ribcage that once held together the wandering city still has the broken remains trapped underneath it. And you see the skull landed maybe a couple feet or so away from the city, and you see a handful of artisans and craftsmen chipping away at the exterior, occasionally kind of shouting as leftover vegetation bursts out from the cracks they make. And
Can we see the clean shot that Kennam made?
yes, you can.
And
It's sort of they're like marveling over that craftsmanship. It's like a perfect fucking circle.
Hell yeah.
Perfect halfling Kennam size. And as funny as that is, and as warm as this recollection makes you, it's sort of hard to ignore just kind of, I guess, the devastation that's still here. Like, there's still, like, floating half chewed up remains of the Orcs and Goliaths that the Oozlings once took over. And you see a bunch of people, like, carefully trying to get these bodies into the carts, and the more ceremonially dressed chanting and casting spells. And only occasionally, and only around specific people, you notice that the ooze kind of quivers and raises up like it's trying to do something. But then there's this faint shimmer of light, and the ooze sort of flops back down. And that's the scene that's before you.
Ooh.
Would it be
Quite
rude to
a
try and
mess.
use Mage Hand on the remains of some of the...
Oh no!
To try and get them into the carts?
What did you think he was gonna do?
Be mean.
Scare
Pull
people.
pranks on people.
Well, what I would have done if I had Mage Hand.
Okay, so you guys are all kind of watching this. You see Ears not moving, not making a sound, and then suddenly you all watch as Lannon takes a step forward to one of the carts, and he uses. Are you using all 5 of your rings today? Are you burning your spell on this?
To try and help a city in grief? Yes.
Okay, so you see him hold out his hand, and all 5 of the rings glow, and very slowly he lifts up this kind of child-size collection of bones and meat, for lack of a better term. And Lannon, you see one of the orcs beside you, a woman, and she is watching you like carefully put these remains in the cart, and she says something to you. You don't really understand what it is, but you see her eyes sort of filled with tears, and she gives you a hug.
Wait, is it in Orcish?
Yeah, it's an Orcish.
I can understand and translate.
Okay. She's still gonna give him a hug. Like, that didn't
I mean,
change.
yeah, I always enjoy a hug.
And I guess Kennam comes over next, and you tell Lannon that essentially the mother just said thank you.
Aww.
Oh.
I give her a nice, gentle hug back.
And as this goes on, you feel like, as you sort of break away from this embrace and you watch the cart push away to somebody else, you feel like the very, like, a continent smack down on your shoulder, and you
It's the
look over-
dad.
No, you look over to see this giant towering Goliath female, who, when I say towering, I mean Lannon is like, what, 6 foot?
6... Yeah, 6'1".
Yeah, 6 foot. She's a good, like, 8 or 9 feet. Super muscular, dressed in these simple furs and leathers, covered in these tribal-esque tattoos. And she looks down at you, and she smiles, and Lannon, again, she says something, you don't understand it, but Kennam, since you're there, you hear her say, "It is good to see there is still kindness in this world." And then she picks you up, Lannon, and she squeezes you in a hug.
Lannon's not used to this, but he's okay with it.
While she's squeezing, Kennam's just gonna lean over and go, "She says she wants you for dinner."
Jesus Christ. I'm too pretty to die.
You actually hear Ears go, no, he's fine! And you see her running over in a panic. And then she stops dead in her tracks as she's watching this giant Goliath woman squeezing the life out of Lannon.
Okay, you can put me down now.
And she does. And her and Ears kind of stare at each other for a bit. The Goliath woman is still smiling. Ears looks like she just got hit over the head with a bag of bricks. and she starts speaking, like Ear starts speaking in Orcish, sort of like this mix of Orcish and Goliath. And she doesn't sound as in control as she usually does. Kennam, you can kind of make out what she's saying. Like I said, it's sort of a mix of Orc and Goliath. And actually, if anyone else speaks Orc or Goliath, you can kind of jump in on this action too.
Well, I guess Svein could use his comprehend languages spell.
Yeah,
He
if
can
he
get
really
in
wants
on this. Yeah, why not?
Yeah, why not? So you hear this exchange. You hear Ears go, Shoku? I thought, but you, didn't you say you had something important to do today? You couldn't see us off? And you watch as this Goliath woman, who I guess is named Shoku, gestures around the scene, and she says back, well, I am uncertain if this is the proper use of important in your language, but to me this seems to be the case. And she looks to the rest of you, and her smile gets wider, and she says in common, kind of broken common, it is good to meet you, companions of Ears. I had suspected her story was missing many of the details, but I am very pleased to meet her new friends. And she holds out a hand to each of you.
Lannon's just thinking friends is a loose term, but he shakes her hand.
Okay,
Svein's gonna shake her hand.
Okay, Lannon, you go to shake her hand. She pulls you in for another soul-crushing hug.
Oh God!
And Svein,
Svein's gonna brace himself.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Svein, you hold out your hand, but you brace yourself, so you are more prepared for this soul-crushing hug.
Yes.
And she looks to you, Kennam, and she looks to you, Lobe, and she holds out her hand.
I shake it.
Okay, she, like, for Svein and for Lannon, she was definitely able to pick them up off their feet. She does not do that with you. It's just sort of a embrace. Your feet stay firmly on the ground. The hug does not feel as crushing as the others. And she nods and kind of pats you on the shoulder, and she says, yes, you are quite the man, aren't you?
Is she speaking English?
Yes, she's still speaking common.
I am a man, yes!
And she has to squat down to kind of be not even on eye level with you, Kennam. She squats down and she still has to look down, but she still holds out a hand to you.
Kennam's gonna like take it and brace for the worst. Okay, you remember that sensation you felt when you first experienced the rocket halfling, where you were just like rocketed into the sky, up past the stratosphere at blinding speeds? Yeah.
It's like she is well aware that you are tiny though, so she's not quite as squeezy with her hug, but you are still quite breathless when it's done. And she gently puts you down, and she says, it seems that Ears has properly introduced myself, but for the formalities, I am Shoku Sidewinder. I believe that is how it would be said in your language. And what may I call all of you?
I'm Lobe.
I'm Svein.
I'm Lannon.
Kennam.
And she nods, and she says, you all seem like very able-bodied people. And she laughs and she says, this is probably good. I do not think gods appreciate it when we mess with their creations, so it is good to see you are not chained by fear.
I mean, yeah, that's generally a good thing.
Yes. Yes, I think so, yes.
And she looks over at Ears and she says, I am slightly upset that you did not bring them with you yesterday. I would have liked to meet them. And Ears looks
Yeah,
about
ears.
Jeez, why didn't you bring us?
We could have had a
Ears
fun
looks-
time.
Ears looks white as a bed sheet. And she kind of stammers out, you know, we had to get on the road soon. I didn't want a bunch of time.
We just had so many things to take care of. We had to go to the store and get Winslow and
Right, exactly. So on that note, and she starts
Where's Winslow?
Winslow's next to me.
I was like, Winslow's just kind of looking at all this like, oh my god, I'm so part of this adventure.
Winslow, come over here and join us.
Oh god. No, actually, I think
You
I'm
haven't-
good.
you haven't met Winslow yet.
Oh, is this another companion?
Air quotes.
And Winslow is like slowly stepping away, like, nope, actually, I'm.
Lannon
I'm
grabs
not.
him by the back of the neck and is like, yes! He is.
And Shoku wraps him up in probably the biggest hug you guys have seen yet.
Whoa.
You hear like a slight popping sound, and Winslow is dropped back to his feet, and he kind of staggers a bit. And
I'll
she
fix
says,
that later.
and she says, "It is very nice to meet you as well, Winslow." And she frowns for a second, and she says, "Oh, you are still a companion then." And Winslow kind of looks over at Ears, and he looks back at Shoku, and he kind of gives the hand sign. And Shoku says, "Well, the more you have, the better, I suppose." And she looks back to all four of you, and she said, "I do not have the words to thank you for what you have done. Not because my common is poor, but I do not think, even in my language, I could find the right words."
You're welcome.
Yes, we.
You're welcome.
Kennam and Lannon start singing a little.
Well,
No,
we were
burst
happy
out into
to have-
song.
We're not
I rolled
bursting
an
out into
18.
song.
no
Roll
Let's
an 18 on
all
performance. I'm bursting out into
pretend
song.
that we're gonna burst into song, but then everyone stop and make Winslow do it.
Winslow's good over here. And Shoku goes on to say, this is quite the tragedy, something I was not ready for. I am glad again that Ears has such able-bodied companions.
We're glad to be with her.
Yes, yes, we are. We're still learning, but
Ironically enough, body was not what was required here, but yeah, that works.
And as the Ears is kind of like watching this situation, she just claps her hands together and she says, "Okay, well, this was swell. Shoku, great to see you. We should probably get going so we can avoid more tragedies like this. Guys, let's go." And she's like kind of inching towards the cart a bit.
What's the hurry, Ears?
Shoku,
Embarrassed
Alright.
to show us your new friend.
Alright, hold on. I want to read the expression on Ears' face to see if it's like panic.
okay. Make me. Oh God, what would this be?
Insight.
Yeah.
Ears probably told her, "We'll be right back. We have to get something, and then we'll fix your whole village for you."
That's a 14.
14. And you're trying to see what's the dealio with Ears?
Yeah.
Okay. She definitely doesn't want to be here right now. You are slowly starting to piece together that she was worried this morning was so she didn't have to talk with Shoku, and now Shoku is here. She is very uncomfortable. You even detect a little bit of guilt, maybe some shame.
For shame.
Yeah,
Oh.
that.
But you know what, guys? We do have to get on to the next piece of our puzzle. So come on.
Yes, that is true.
I'm sure this won't be the last time we get to make fears feel awkward.
Before
Well-
you go,
It was good seeing you, Shoku.
and she nods. And she says, "Before you go, though, I wish to speak to the one named Lobe."
Oh,
Lobe, you've got a fan.
Lobe has many fans.
Lobe has all the fans. And
All right. Lobe goes over to her.
okay, and she rests a hand on your shoulder, and she says, "Ears told me that you had become friendly with Vin, yes?"
Vinny, yeah, great guy.
And she nods. She says, "Yes, it is upsetting to hear that he is gone. And you sort of see her take a minute. She wipes her face off and she says, "You did not know him, though, Lobe, and history likes to speak of much anger between us, one which you seem to ignore." And you watch as she takes off this girdle of sorts around her waist, and she presents it to you, and she says, "I would be honored if you would wear this in his name to show that perhaps there will be a time where we can all be friendly with each other."
Oh, well, I would hope for that greatly.
And Lobe, you have yeah, it's a girdle. I was trying to think of a clever name and I couldn't think of one.
The girdle of greatness.
It's a girdle of greatness. Add +1
To my tummy tucking?
No, to yeah, now you look super slim. No, add +1 to any strength check that you make, and now when you associate with orcs or Goliaths, you will get an advantage.
Yeah.
Girdle of Grandeur.
Ooh.
So we have the girdle of grandeur, the girdle of greatness, both of which are pretty good.
No, they're both great.
And she says, "It is,"
Great, one's grand.
and Shoku says, "It is unfortunate what happened to him. He was actually one of our, what do you call them? Blaze trailers? Is
Yes, and you must.
We just got our group name, the Blaze Trailers.
Are you serious?
We don't have a name yet.
Okay, so you're
Yep.
officially the Blaze Trailers. That's no. Shoku goes on to say, he and many others, we have been working very hard to reach the forests, and he was the only one to keep in contact. I wish he hadn't gone. I suppose it will take longer for our kin to get to the forest then."
Well, I wish you the best.
She nods, and so at last, Florence is completely fixed up, transformed into its smaller state as to not cause a panic. You push the cart back out into the savannah, Kevin of proper size, and head. Oh my god. Ready to help with this facade. Clearly, the words help and ready should never be put together. It definitely seems like your story has spread around the city. Almost like, aside from those who had come out to take care of the remains of the wandering village, there are quite a number of other people here, a lot of them looking like civilians. Some of them have these baskets of exotic food to give you. Others have these small trinkets and scrolls with very sloppy common, essentially writing their thanks to you. So, fan letters, I suppose, to put in modern
Fan
terms.
mail.
There's even a few children who teamed up together, and they made these super reedy looking flower wreaths, but they are so fucking excited to give these to you.
Yeah.
As I say, and if you let them, they will straight up like try and put these on your heads.
Oh, fuck yeah?
Yeah, Svein's getting one on his head.
I mean,
Okay,
I
so
don't
they
think Kennam's got much of a choice.
Yeah, you don't really have an option. Sorry, Kennam.
Power.
But they sort of bounce between you guys, setting the crowns at a variety of weird angles on your head. And when I say everybody, I actually mean everybody. Like, one of them is on top of another's shoulders to get one on Winslow. And then there's this small Goliath girl, and she nervously hands Ears one before scaring off to her parents. And they both look at these wreaths, share kind of a different set of reactions. Winslow, sort of blank-faced, doesn't know why he's getting one, and Ears. Lannon, you know that look she had earlier when you were talking with Shoku? Kind of that look of panic or guilt and shame?
Yeah.
Same look.
Oh.
Same look she has now. And,
I'm asking her about that later.
Okay, Shoku, still dressed in her simple garb, salutes each of you again with the killer bear hugs. Yay. As you stand between the carts. And before Ears can kind of get you all ready to go, like, she's watching you each get a really long hug, and she's like, oh, okay, guys, we gotta, like, let's go. And as you sort of all get in position around the gypsy, and she goes to get in her position, Shoku grabs her hand and kind of pulls her back, and very softly says something to her. And if you want to make me a perception, and if you speak Orcish, or I guess in Svein's case, if you have a spell that lets you understand Orcish, you can make me a roll.
I got nothing.
I got a 15 plus 4, 19.
I think I got something.
Yeah, what'd you get?
Let me quick find. Yeah, so that's a 21, natural 20.
Oh! You heard it before it was even said. You can read it on her face.
I cast Detect Thoughts. That was how to cast Detect Thoughts.
Okay, so Svein and Kennam, you hear Shoku say very softly to Ears, "May these new companions help do what I could not, friend. And perhaps this face will be the one to stay." And Svein, you are sort of processing this sentence. Kennam, you watch as Ears' face goes somehow even paler than before, and she jerks away from Shoku, kind of like with an awkward smile, and she backpedals. She's like, "Okay, all right, guys, show's over. Let's go. Book's got quite a few readings, and we gotta go. Let's go right now."
I've got to make more poisons.
And so Kevin starts pulling the cart through the tangled grass with a promise that just over the horizon line, your giant monster cart will soon be at your command.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah, it won't take too long, hopefully. You see, like, her hooves are kind of squishing through this goopy, wet ground, like the gray ooze somehow even went this far. And even now, there are, like, these tiny strands of slime that are reaching up and up and up, kind of towards your chests, but yeah, at this point, it's not even something.
Lannon flips it off.
Yeah.
Just both hands, like.
Dual wielding.
And Ears is at the front of the cart next to you, Kennam, who I assume is pretend driving. And she's flipping through the book, and she says, "All right, boys. So we've got quite a couple readings that we can hit up. There's a couple around the Badlands. It looks like we can head back sort of towards Smolderven. Not really too much of a preference of where we go. So where are we headed?"
Well, while I was at the library, I did learn something interesting. I found out where Mimicrome supposedly comes from.
Okay. You wanna share the
yes.
rest of that?
Yes, there's a place called the Astral Puddle. I suppose it's south of Gaia, from what I've heard, and this big star fell down there, and I think that's where people harvest it from. So if we want more of it, or want to learn more about it, that would be a good place to start.
Holy
Plus,
shit, guys.
who knows?
Guys.
Hmm?
Super Florence.
What?
Florence can be a super transformer.
Okay, while that idea is certainly interesting, I'm not exactly getting a ton of readings over there. Are you sure you want to head in that way?
Why not? Could be fun.
Okay, I guess we'll head that way then. And she sort of, well, I guess actually you kind of start redirecting the cart slightly to face more southward.
Wait, isn't Winslow technically driving the cart?
Winslow's still in the back. He's like in the actual cart itself. You're sort of put him back there.
So is anyone actually driving this cart, or is it on moving on?
No, I
its own?
assumed you were. Like you and Ears are sitting in the front, and you're sort of pretend driving it.
What's real driving it?
When it turns into a giant monster.
Okay.
Listen, Kevin doesn't need no directions. He knows what to do.
Okay.
So you establish your direction. You kind of push Kevin in the right direction, and Kevin takes over.
Florence.
Well, kind of. Florence isn't big yet; still a cart. So Kevin is still driving at this point. You're not
Oh,
quite.
okay.
You're not quite out of sight at the city yet.
I get you now. I get you. That
got
was
me.
the big confusion. That was
Okay.
the big one. I thought we were in monster form. Okay, I get you.
Okay. All right. Cool beats.
Okay, yeah, I'll steer it over.
Okay. Cool. And you see Winslow, and he's kind of like got his head partially stuck out of the cart, and he's watching as the city is sort of pulling away into the horizon line. And then you sort of see him go rigid, and he's like, guys, what the hell? And he's pointing to the city. And you start to see something growing around the city. Like,
Oh no.
you can't really see what it is, though. You're kind of too far away at this point, which is perfectly fine, though, because whatever it is now growing towards you. From the goop that you are still trudging through, you see these small shoots of, like, grass and bushes, like a flurry of leaves and bark. It's just this collection of plant life that's growing at a slightly accelerated pace. You see these tree, like, what the heck are baby trees called? Why can't I think of what
Saplings?
they're called? Yeah, that. Like the fucking savannah
It's
sapling.
like we've been talking about these the entire adventure.
I couldn't think of it. But those are growing, not like exponentially fast, but much faster than things usually grow. You see these vines sort of start to weave in between each tree. The ground itself be digging out itself somehow. Like you see like this small stream begin to fill up with water. You see these ponds start to shape. And as you reach the edge of the slime's borders, this whole weird photosynthetic event starts leveling out into this beautiful sight around the city. Just this like cobblestoning of gears and natural construction and just nature itself now centered and interwoven in this oasis in the middle of the Soul Glass Savannah. And even at this distance, you could see that the citizens look surprised, but at ease because they know nothing bad is happening to their city. And as you reach the edge of this forest, for lack of a better word, and as Winslow comes out and as Ears is starting to reshape Florence, you hear a voice, and it's only you four who hear this voice. It like a little gust of wind comes by, and you hear a very, very soft voice say, "Be better than us, companions.